Are you ready to start? I'm ready to start. Good afternoon and welcome to today's meeting. I would officially like to open the meeting at 1 p.m. and acknowledge that we are hosting this meeting on the traditional land of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We acknowledge the Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of Western Australia, pay respect to elders past and present, and the ongoing connection between people, land, waters and community. Today's meeting will be run in accordance with the DAP Standing Orders 2025 under the Planning and Development DAP Regulations 2011. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the DAP website in accordance with the Regulation 42A of the Planning and Development DAP Regulations 2011. Panel members may refer to technical devices throughout the meeting to assist them in considering the information before them at today's meeting. Members for today's meeting, we have furthest to my left, we have Commissioner Bianca Sandrini. Sitting next to Bianca is Commissioner David Caddy, Mr. John Syme, Specialist Member. To my immediate left, Dale Page, Deputy Presiding Member, and my name is Francesca Lafanti, Presiding Member. We have also Councillors Ben Kunza from the City of Canning and Mayor Patrick Hall from the City of Canning for Part C of this agenda. Members, are there any apologies for today's meeting in Part B? There are no apologies. Members, the minutes of this meeting will be available on the DAP website. We'll move first to Part B, City of Nedlands. Members, can I have a show of hands that you've duly considered all documentation relating to Part B of the agenda? That is unanimous for the minute taken. Members, are there any disclosures of interest in relation to this matter and whether that was considered at all at Council?
The matter hasn't been brought to Council.
There are nil disclosures of interest for the minute taker. We will now move forward to our first item. It is an application, a Form 2 application relating to Hillway in Nedlands, number 4 Hillway in Nedlands, and its modifications to 4 grouped dwellings. We have the applicant here with us today, Mr. Alan Stewart. However, there is no presentation. He is available for questions from panel members. Panel members, are there any questions to the applicant at this juncture? Yes, we have one question here.
Just, Alan, and I think I know the answer, but can you just confirm for me that none of these amendments change the height, the overall height of the building, do they?
No. The previous year was like a roof terrace with the lift overrun lift lobby, and we're enclosing that area. So it's overall same size and scale. Yeah.
There was just a bit in the report that talked about height, and so I didn't think there was a height change, but I wanted to confirm. So
no. I mean, there's a tiny variation of about 0.4 or 0.2 of a metre, just where the lift overrun roof exceeds the height limit, but that was the same as previously. The bit that's being enclosed is compliant.
Thank you. Members, are there any other questions to this applicant? If there are no further questions, thank you. We will now move to officers at the City.
Hello.
I have listed here Dylan Reid, Sergio Famiano, and I have a third member, but I can only see 2 of you, David Banovic.
It's just us 2.
Right. We'll first go to yourselves. Do you want to make any comments before going to questions from members on this item?
No comments at this time.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions to City officers in relation to this item? No questions. Thank you. We will move forward to the agenda. There is a recommendation at the beginning of the agenda. In accordance with the DAP provisions, we will deal with the recommendation in the agenda for approval. Is there a mover of the RA recommendation as written?
Happy to move.
It is moved. Commissioner Bianca Sandrini. Is there a seconder for the recommendation as written?
I'll second it.
It is seconded, Commissioner David Caddy. Would the mover like to speak to the motion?
I think it's fairly self-explanatory. The officer's report is comprehensive. It seeks to amend condition 2 in terms of validity, and for those reasons I'm happy to support.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, presiding member. Look, the report is comprehensive, as Commissioner Sandry said. The amendments make minor refinements to the approved development and maintain a very high standard of architectural quality. And that's been endorsed by the city's design review panel. So I'm quite happy to support the recommendation.
Thank you. Are there any other members that wish to speak for the motion? It is John Syme, and then we'll go to Dale
Look,
Page.
very briefly, I agree with that. This is actually a fairly straightforward set of amendments. As we said in the original approval, this is a very appropriate and very appropriate building form for this site. It's a very high quality development. I think the additional accommodation will actually enhance that. It's sort of set up almost as a little granny flat at the top, which I think is not a bad thing. So I think for those reasons, I think this is a very straightforward approval.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to the item?
Yes, very briefly, thanks. First of all, I'm satisfied that the proposed amendments do fall within the scope of a Form 2 application. Happy to support the amendments. They don't significantly alter the external presentation of the approved development, and the overall build form and bulk and scale is largely the same as before. The minor changes to the facade of Unit 1 on the second and third floors reduces the amount of structure in the primary setback area, and that's a positive design change. And the changes to the north-eastern boundary are inconsequential and don't have any additional impact on adjoining neighbours. And another positive outcome of the changes is the increase in private open space and landscaping. So not only do I feel that the changes don't increase the impact, but they actually improve the design of the proposals. Happy to support.
Thank you. I will speak to the proposal as well. I will support the proposal. I think it's an exceptional design as written in the RAR. I note that the changes increase and enhance the residential occupation opportunities within the sites, and that for 3 of those 4 units, they appear to be capable of multi-generational living, including a kitchenette on the upper floor, which from my perspective is a positive contribution to the mix of opportunities for residential within that particular location. The modifications are, as has already been indicated, are consistent with the original approval, with any issues relating to the site being suitably addressed through the RAR, and are consistent with the emerging character of the area. Those are my comments. Would the mover like a right of reply and close off debate?
No, I'll just reinforce that this falls within the parameters of a Form 2 application, given that they are minor amendments that don't impact the bulk and scale of the development or the intent of the development. Support it.
Thank you. Right of reply has been had. We are going to vote. All those in favour? It is carried unanimously for the minute taker. I will move back to the agenda. There are no Section 31 SAT reconsiderations for this part of the agenda. And at this juncture, I'd like to thank Commissioner David Caddy and Commissioner Bianca Sandrini for participation in today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's 9:109 for your information. Good afternoon. Online, I can see Councillor Ben Kunze, but I can now see, good afternoon, I can now see Mayor Patrick Hall. Can you see and hear us okay? And can we get just a test of your mics?
Crystal clear for me. Thank you. Yes, I can see and hear everybody.
Thank you.
Likewise, Chair, I can see and hear everyone perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you. We will commence this part of the meeting. It is 1:11, sorry. And I would like to welcome to today's meeting, to part C of the meeting, Mayor Patrick Hall and Councillor Ben Kunze, who are representing the City of Canning on the panel. I would like to have a show of hands from panel members that you have duly considered all documentation contained within Part C of the agenda and Part C related information. That is unanimous for the minute taker. Members, are there any disclosures of interest? And I'll also go first to the members online, including whether this was considered at a council meeting or briefing. I'll first go to Mayor Patrick Hall.
No, the matter has not been considered by council, and I have no conflict to disclose.
Thank you. And Councillor Ben Kunze.
Likewise, I have nothing to disclose. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members in the room, are there any disclosures of interest? There are no disclosures of interest for the minute taker. On today's meeting, we are dealing with a Form 1 item at item 3.1 for Treasure Road in Queen's Park Aged Care Facility. We have two presenters today, Sean McGivern and Matthew Kane, both of which have sought and been approved for an extension of time to speak at their presentations to 5 minutes each. And I will hand over to both presenters. You can choose the order in which you wish to speak. And we have a PowerPoint presentation also as part of the material. So over to yourselves.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. We would also like to acknowledge that this project is located on Whadjuk in our country, and we pay our respect to elders past, present and emerging. Obviously, this is a pretty important project to Indigenous people, not just in WA, but in wider Australia. And this would be the first purpose-built Indigenous aged care facility in WA. Located in Queen's Park, you can see here in red, and more specifically in its location with Treasure Road, around an area which was named Sister Kate's after Sister Kate Clutterberg set up a mission in this location in the late 1930s. The existing site has the Chapel of the Guardian Angels, which I'll talk about in a minute, and some grouped housing, along with quite a vacant lot, which has these beautiful native trees, gums, marries throughout the site. So the site in its existing form, you can see the Chapel of the Guardian Angels, which is the sort of primary remnant of when it was run by Sister Kate. There's the memorial cottage, the grouped housing to the southeast, and then you can see the majority of the site that we have to the north and west, in which we are seeking permission to develop the aged care facility. I guess the sort of existing context has allowed us to sort of develop this idea on the site, a series of clusters wrapped around this landscape. And something that really was a driving force behind this design was that idea that you could connect the landscape and connect to spaces, outdoor spaces, and have maximum use of outdoor spaces where possible. And hence we sort of have that interconnectivity that can be seen from this diagram through those landscape spaces, which hopefully manifests itself in the eventual design, along with some central facilities in the blue and the entrance off Cross Street. Looking at the material quality, we sought to look at the colours and textures of Western Australia and indeed Outback Australia, and how they could be translated into materials of rammed earth, breeze walls, fences that sort of worked with landscape that sort of seemed to disappear. And then the introduction of colour and traditional materials that we have, building materials that we have in WA. So the plan is, or the overall view of the building, really this low scale development with some higher elements in the middle, and really trying to make the most of the landscape space as we runs down through the middle of the site, engaging with the trees and the streetscape. So the entrance off Cross Street, through the drop off to those central facilities, the clusters gathered around the perimeter of the site, and these public functions in the middle. Additionally, we have a space for seminars and conferences, which would allow for education in nursing and treatment of Indigenous aged care patients. Coming through the entrance, you can start to see that material quality. While the building does have a presence in this location, and the scale breaks down to the perimeter to give a sense of entry and presence to the building. Those natural materials and space start to create connection to the landscape courtyards beyond, and the trees and the existing vegetation. Spaces which exist are the town hall spaces we call in the middle, again having that interconnectivity with the landscape and the use of natural materials. Places for gathering, for yarning within those landscapes. The hydrotherapy pool acts as another pavilion, and we would seek to develop this as a naturally ventilated space which could connect to the landscape beyond. Again, important for the health and well-being of the residents. And then moving to the streetscape, all of the residents have access to an outdoor space, an outdoor private space, and those spaces are mediated with the use of screens, the introduction of timber, and those sort of traditional roof forms. And the rooms themselves have that connection again to the outdoors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would you like to continue your presentation?
Yes, thank you, Sean. Matthew Kane from Planning Solutions, acting for Hall and Pryor. Look, I'd just start by saying we're really pleased to receive the city's RA and the recommendation as put forward. Dialogue with the city began well over a year ago with preliminary engagement on this project, and that was at both officer level and then through the DRP prior to lodgement. At that point, I'd probably say I really just appreciate thanking the officers for the collaborative approach through this application process, both with the application, the RFI, and the support that's been put forward today. Whilst there is some discretion sought for the project, it's almost entirely consistent with the city's local framework, and those elements seeking discretion are supported or require a condition which we're happy with. Note that prior to submission of the RA, we have had an opportunity to go through the conditions and discuss with the city modifications. So ultimately, we're seeking several conditions be amended, but we're largely acceptable to the city's recommendation. I'll just talk to each of these matters briefly. With respect to condition 4, we'd ask it be modified to provide a second option to deal with the city's requirement. As in my deputation summary, what I propose is the condition be split into 2 parts, with part A being consistent with the city's current requirements and part B being added to provide an alternate option to deal with parking layout. Modification of the condition was discussed with the city at the end of last week. We understand they're generally acceptable to the alternate proposed recommendation just to satisfy internal engineering advice. With respect to conditions 15 and 29 relating to construction management plan provision, one condition requires this to be provided prior to building permit 1, prior to commencement of works. Condition 15 is recommended by the city. Condition 29 through the Heritage Council referral advice. What we'd ask is that the DAP modify the conditions to be a consolidated condition, both remaining to the satisfaction of both the city and the DPLH Director of Historic Heritage. Now, just prior to requesting the modification, and as in my deputation summary, we did seek advice from DPLH Heritage to confirm they were satisfied with that recommended request. which they have confirmed a single consolidated condition is acceptable. So in this instance, I propose condition 29 be deleted and condition 15 be amended, whilst both remain to the satisfaction of the city. There is a minor amendment to the associated advice note as well. With respect to conditions 20 and 27, the same situation applies where we have a requirement for an updated landscaping plan and two separate conditions. So amalgamating these into one would be what we've requested of DAP today. Probably just say with request to those four conditions, in my view, that doesn't alter the intent or requirement of the condition. It simply simplifies them from 4 to 2 and removes that duplication as well as sort of the inconsistent trigger times. To conclude, and I think just to emphasise what Sean had said, I really want to state the importance of this form of development. It really can't be understated. Not only will this facility support continually growing demand for aged care facility and bed numbers in WA, but it also provides a carefully designed, respectfully considered project for specialist care facilities for the Indigenous community. The proposal is consistent with the city's framework, supported by officers, and we'd ask that the DAP recommend approve the application subject to the requested modifications. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Members, are there any questions from these presenters? And I'll first go to members online. Do either of members online have any questions at this juncture?
No questions from me, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members in the room, do you have any questions to the applicant? There are no questions at this juncture. Thank you very much for your presentation. We will now move to city officers. Just attempting to get city officers visual on the screen. Good afternoon. I have listed here 4 officers: Adam Stilton, Shaki Makbol, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that at all correct. Pardon?
Shakil Makbul.
Thank you. Austin Dongul, not sure I'm presenting that correctly, and Troy Kozic. Do officers have any comments you would like to make, including comments to changes to some of those conditions, before going to questions from panel members?
Just that the city commends the applicants for a high quality development which will ultimately improve Queen's Park and the amenity within the suburb moving forward. With regards to the conditions, the city's happy to amend condition number 4 as requested by the applicants. In regards to the requests for the construction management plan and the landscaping plan, the city considers the conditions that have been proposed through the RER are sufficient, as they cover off different aspects. With regards to the Heritage Council, they are solely focused on the state listed Chapel of the Guardian Angel, while the city's conditions relate to construction management plan for the entire site and a landscaping plan for the entire site. Each of the conditions from the local government and from the Heritage Council, as mentioned by the applicant, have different time requirements for the clearance of those conditions, and also will be cleared by different clearing authorities, including the city and the Heritage Council. So we consider that the conditions as recommended are appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, are there questions to city officers? We'll first go to members online. Do either members online have questions at this juncture to city officers?
No, not from me. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify with respect to the condition 15 and 29 and condition 20 and 27. were you saying you support how they originally proposed, or you support the consolidation?
Through you, Madam Chair, we support as contained within the RAR itself.
Are there any questions at this juncture from yourself in relation to these? Any matters?
Yeah, I just had a question through you, Madam Chair. Just with respect to condition 14 and the sustainability report, forgive me, I may have lost this in translation, but whilst the condition 14 is rather definitive with meeting the provisions and recommendation, the actual sustainability report itself, whilst there are clear outcomes, some of it is aspirational and some of it speaks to 30 car bays for 69 patients where it's 100 beds for 85 parking bays. I just wondered whether or not there was any ambiguity that might cause the proponent later down the track not to meet what's in this report. Is city staff comfortable with the definitive language in condition 14 when there seems to be a bit of uncertainty or certain matters aren't clear, will be dealt with down the track in the sustainability report?
Through you, Madam Chair, with regards to the sustainability report, the city would review that in accordance with the building permit that's lodged as well to ensure the recommendations within the sustainability report are carried through to the development itself. With regards to the parking, there's specific conditions of development approval which cover off the parking and will require to be cleared. So the city's satisfied that the parking will be covered off under other conditions of development approval, whilst the sustainability measures in the report will be followed through by the city through the building permit and obviously then through the construction and the development itself.
Thank you.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Members in the room, do you have any questions? Member Dale Page.
Yes, please. So look, I note the comments you've made about wanting to keep the conditions relating to construction management and others as they are. And this has come up before, I think, in previous agendas. Do you not feel it is inappropriate for clearance of a condition to be of a third party? You ultimately are clearing the decision, the conditions, not a third referral agency. So do you still feel that that's appropriate to have a referral agency included in as a clearance authority in your conditions?
Through you, Madam Chair, exactly that. So the city wants to be able to clear the construction management plan for the entirety of the site in terms of how the development is constructed for the duration of the construction. The condition that was recommended by the Heritage Council only relates to the integrity of the chapel on site itself, and so the city considers those to be two separate matters. And so whilst the construction management plan can be lodged at the same time to the city, the applicants can still lodge a construction management plan to the Heritage Council, which makes specific reference to the protection of the chapel itself. And so that's why the city has recommended that the two conditions remain as per the city's RAR.
Right. And this is more curiosity than anything, why does the report says there was no requirement for the application to be advertised? Why is that?
Through you, Madam Chair, the design itself of the development was compliant with the R-Code's requirement on the land use itself and wasn't a trigger for advertising, hence why this application wasn't advertised to adjoining landowners.
Thank you. Any further questions? If there are no further questions from panel members, we have a recommendation at the beginning of the RAR. There are also some requested changes provided by the applicant. As per the DAP provisions, we will go to the recommendation as written in the RAR. Is there a mover of the recommendation as written in the RAR? It is moved, Mayor Patrick Hall. Is there a seconder for the recommendation as written in the agenda? It is seconded, Councillor Ben Kunza. Would the mover like to speak to this motion?
I will just briefly thank you, Madam Chair, only to say I support the recommendation to approve. The area has significant Aboriginal heritage, obviously on the site of Sister Kate. Also under construction, just around the corner from this site, coincidentally, is the state's first, well, the first in the metropolitan Perth Aboriginal short stay location, about a $40 million development, which is occurring right now, and just around the corner also in Queen's Park. I'm really pleased that the proposed built form is consistent with the surrounding locale, which is primarily of R30 single house and group dwelling nature, and that was confirmed by our officers in response to a question from the member just a moment ago. More pleasing to me is the feedback I heard in relation to the collaborative approach of our officers, and only good outcomes can come from the collaboration and cooperation between proponents and the city. I'm really pleased to have heard that as the Mayor. I'd also like to commend the proponent for the report and ancillary drawings. I found myself as a lay member of this panel that the report and site design were really excellent and assisted me to understand the scale of the proposal, and I wanted to thank them for that. But I have no queries with this. I think the fact that this is the first purpose-built Indigenous aged care centre in Western Australia is of note to me, and also wonderful for the City of Canning. It's a quality design, purpose-built for the location. The clever use of colour blends in with the natural environment which surrounds it. I commend the application. Really pleased to see it come to this MIDAP, and again, I support the recommendation as written. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll start by moving an amendment to condition 4 as was proposed by the applicant.
Thank you. Amendment 1 is a modification to condition 4 as provided by the applicant. Is there a seconder to amendment 1? It is seconded, Member Dale Page. Would you like to speak to that amendment?
Yeah, only to say that the argument put forward by the proponent was logical, supported by the city officers. So I'm happy with what's been proposed, and it removes one condition. So I think the MIDAP should support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak to the motion?
Nothing there. Thank you.
Do any members wish to speak to the motion, the amendment? If there are no further speakers, would you like a right of reply?
Nothing to add. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We are going to the vote on amendment 1. All those in favour? It is carried unanimously for the minute taker. I'm back to yourself, Member Ben Kunze. Would you like to keep speaking?
Yeah, I'll just speak to the substantive motion. Look, this is a great outcome for that site. I know that there's been discussions for a very long time as to the future of what can be done in this site, and it's obviously got, as the Mayor said, significant history, significant Aboriginal history associated with the site, and also for the wider Queen's Park population. I commend the applicant with respect to the high quality design and the great architecture, and it looks as though it will really complement that precinct and provide a very important service. I'm very pleased to see the landscape design. It looks like it's, again, high quality. I'm very pleased to see the number of mature trees that will be retained. It's significantly important for residents within an aged care precinct to have that sort of environment and that atmosphere in terms of positive mental health, and the fact that the site will start off with significant mature vegetation will provide a great start once the development is complete. And I'm also glad to see a pragmatic position taken by the applicant and also the city with respect to bicycle infrastructure, that whilst it didn't meet the provisions, that it was looked at with what will actually be required and the evidence based on that, and that the city accepted a lower than normal ratio. So I was pleased to see that. I'm also pleased to see that the provision for the requirement of car parking bays will be met. I commented before on the sustainability strategy, and whilst that commented on providing a lower than normal ratio of parking bays will incentivise different modes of transport, I think the reality is that doesn't happen, and we end up with parking issues. So I'm pleased to see what's been proposed will make sure that the number of parking bays required will be delivered. Look, I just want to finish by saying I commend the applicant again. I think it will be a great addition to this precinct and to the City of Canning. Thank you.
Thank you. Other members, would you like to speak to the motion on the table? Dale Page.
Thank you, presiding member. Look, before speaking to the substantive, I would like to move a further few amendments, please.
Yes.
The first one is an en bloc amendment to conditions 27 and 30. 27 relates to a heritage issue. It's an updated landscape plan that deals with some heritage issues, and 30 is a building condition report. I would like to amend those so that the requirements of those conditions are to the satisfaction of the City of Canning in consultation with the Department's Director Historic Heritage Conservation, rather than to the satisfaction of that third party individual.
Thank you. There's an amendment being moved. Is there a seconder? It is seconded. John Syme.
Thank you, presiding member. Look, I understand that some of these conditions are heritage specific. At the end of the day, clearance of these conditions, this is not a dual approval under the MRS. Clearance of these conditions are the City of Canning's responsibility. And much like it would be a condition from Main Roads or Heritage Council or any others to leave, clearance of a condition to the satisfaction of a third party can be tricky. I don't think it changes the intent. It just clears up confusion at clearance time and makes it very clear that the City of Canning will talk and get guidance from the department on this, but ultimately they are responsible for clearing these conditions. So it is more appropriate to make it to their satisfaction in consultation with the Director of Historic Heritage Conservation.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak?
Yes, I agree. Look, it's very uncommon. In fact, in my experience, unknown to have approval subject to a third party approval. So I think there is one clearing authority in this project, and that is the City of Canning, and I think this should make this crystal clear. So I think we must make these amendments.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers on Amendment 2? Yes, we are going to Member Mayor Patrick Hall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wondered whether I could ask a question through the City's officers. I just wanted to ask them, just as a courtesy, whether they foresaw any inadvertent consequences of the amendment, that's all.
I'm happy to take that to clarify for member while debating the item. Do the City officers have a comment to the member's query?
Through you, Madam Chair, obviously the approval of the plan would still come from the Heritage Council itself, and the City would just be doing a tick box exercise. The conditions were recommended by the Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage to the City, and so that's why the City weren't keen on recommending changes to the State Government's recommendations for the conditions themselves. If the DAP feel mindful to approve them, then that's up to the DAP. Thank you.
Back to yourself, Mayor Patrick Hall.
Fine, I just wanted to ask that question. I was just still a little bit confused around the necessity for the amendment, only given that the officers are saying that the recommendation itself actually came from the authority, and I don't disagree that having the recommendation put by a third party may be unusual, but to me, considering the circumstances of it, I really wouldn't have. I'm a little bit ambivalent. I don't have an issue either way, quite frankly. So I'll listen to others if they have a point of view.
Thank you. Any other speakers on Amendment 2? I will speak to Amendment 2. I support the minor modification to that condition. It is standard practice that we have one clearing agency in relation to these items, and it is essentially in my view, the city. Heritage Council operates as an advisory component inputting into this process, and therefore the consideration that I'm giving is on that basis and supportive of the condition, therefore reading to the satisfaction of the city in consultation with the Heritage Council. Are there any further comments in relation to this amendment? If not, I move back to the mover for right of reply in relation to this matter.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Member. Nothing further to add on that amendment.
Thank you. We are going to the vote on Amendment 2. All those in favour? It is carried unanimously. I'm back to yourself.
Thank you, Presiding Member. I would then like to delete condition 29 as it duplicates the requirement of condition 15 for a construction management plan. I note the comments that were made by the city that they're quite different, but if you read condition 29, it really refers to the same construction management plan. It just asks that some extra bits are added into it, and hence the applicant's request to add that to the advice note 12. So seeking to delete condition 29 because it duplicates condition 15. I don't think there's a need to amend the wording of condition 15 as suggested by the applicant. Again, it's not appropriate to make clearance of a third party, of a condition to a third party.
Is there a seconder for Amendment 2? If there is no seconder, that will lapse and we'll continue on with it.
Sure. Then I would seek to delete condition 27 and amend condition 20.
Haven't you? Oh, yes.
So that it reads, prior to the submission of a building permit, a detailed landscape plan shall be submitted to and approved by the City of Canning in consultation with the Director, Historic Heritage Conservation, Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage, and must include the following: A, incorporate lowered accepted ground levels or a perimeter air drain, and B, interpretation of the history. It's again, 27 duplicates 20 to a large degree.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that amendment? It is seconded, John Syme. Are there any, would you like to speak to that? Would the seconder like to speak to the amendment?
No. I think it's pretty much as suggested by the applicant, and I think it makes sense for it all to be in one landscape plan.
Any other speakers on this amendment? It's Amendment 4. Yes, Member Ben Kunzer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Look, I won't be supporting it. I accept the advice from Mr. Donaghy in terms of why they've proposed the separate conditions, and so I'll be proceeding under that advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers on this amendment? If there are no speakers, I move back to the mover for right of reply.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to, in closing, clarify that we have already amended condition 27 by an amendment, and that was because we weren't sure if this one would get across the line. I do feel that it's unnecessary to have them separate, and hence moving the amendment. But if this amendment is lost, we still have condition 27 that has been amended not to refer to the third party, so happy with that.
Thank you. We are now going to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Is carried 3-2.
Thank you. Reverting to the substantive, Presiding Member, I'm very happy to support this proposal. The architectural design is very high quality, as is the landscape design. The proposal is consistent with the surrounding development in terms of scale and build form, and it meets the objectives and specific provisions of the private community purposes zone under the city's planning scheme. Given the applicant will be providing bays in the verge abutting the site, the city is supportive of the overall parking arrangement and the number of bays proposed, and the traffic impact statement submitted with the application confirms the parking provision will be adequate. The TIS also confirms that the site is well serviced by public transport and that the surrounding road network can comfortably accommodate the additional traffic that will be generated by the development. All in all, a very high quality development, very happy to support.
Thank you. Any other speakers on the proposal? Member John Syme.
Yes, look, for a start, look, from a technical point of view, this has had no problems at all. It is entirely consistent with the planning framework. The traffic issues and parking issues have been properly addressed. The discretions that we're being asked to address are very minor. There's some, now with these amendments, there's some bits and pieces that we've sort of tidied up. So I think overall, from a technical point of view, there is nothing wrong with this. I think what I would like to say is that I commend Sister Kate and Hall and Pryor for choosing such a high quality design team in the first place, and that means that the outcome of this is outstanding. I think this is an outstanding development, an outstanding example of a sensitive design for a specific client, specific and clientele with specific needs. And I think those have quite clearly been taken seriously and addressed. And I think the outcome of here is absolutely first class. And I commend everybody involved with this because it is quite clearly an outstanding development. The design itself is as we would expect from this firm, very high. I think the execution of it, I'm sure, will be equal of high standards. So I think we can commend this easily. Thank you.
Thank you. I will speak to the motion. As has already indicated, it is a high quality development. The built form has a positive street interface. I'm also satisfied that the building is exceptional, being a purpose-built building for its occupants, connecting both landscaping to the occupants' amenity, and from my perspective, the significant and substantial generous amount of communal open space providing social interaction and recreational features for the occupant. I would commend that. It's quite unusual to see such a large amount of communal space central to the site and easily accessible. I'll concur with the comments provided by other members in relation to car parking, and I also concur with comments previously made about the design quality and the street interface. Those are my general comments. I do, however, have an amendment. My amendment is in relation to slightly similar to one of the other members' movements. This one, however, is for me to delete condition 29, but to amend condition 15 in the process. I note that we did previously deal with deleting just 29 with no change to 15. From my perspective, that is my movement for the same reasons that have been spoken about previously, that this should be approved by the city with input from in consultation with the Heritage Council. So I am supportive of, I'm moving a condition 29 be deleted, condition 15, similar to the wording provided by the applicant, but with a modification that says, and approved by the City of Canning in consultation with. So that is my change. It is, my reasoning for that is that I do believe they are, both of them are similar conditions. The separation of those conditions doesn't provide any greater clarity from my perspective. Matters relating to construction process are integral to consideration of both the development as well as the chapel. And from my perspective, the development couldn't occur without both of those aspects being addressed prior to construction, hence the reason I'm linking the two together. If there is a seconder, it is seconded, Dale Page. I have made my comments on the motion. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, please. And just for clarification, so we don't get ourselves in trouble down the line, I just wanted to clarify that I think that is similar to the amendment that I moved initially that wasn't seconded. Because I just clarify how to.
So my notes that I took down
Yeah.
was that you moved deletion of condition 29 only, but not a modification to condition 15. That's what I had noted.
Oh, that's right.
So I
correct.
apologise
Thank
if
you.
that was not correct.
No,
So
no.
that is the difference for me, that I have looked at the wording of condition 15, which will also be reflected in the advice note 12 to reflect condition 15. So it also modifies advice note 12.
Happy to second on that basis. Thank you.
Do you wish to speak further to it?
Nothing.
Are there any other speakers to this amendment? We'll go first to Mayor Patrick Hall and then seconded to John Syme.
I must admit to being a little bit confused, Chair. Can you clarify for me? I know the question was just raised, but I wasn't certain that I understood the answer. So previously, an amendment was put which included deletion of 29, and that wasn't supported. Is that right?
Yes, correct. The previous motion that I wrote down being taken as only deletion of condition 29. It did not reference condition 15. It didn't join those two conditions together. So from my perspective, I'm considering this proposal to be the two matters because they deal with the same element, a construction management plan, as well as the advice note 12. So the motion that was previously put on the table, from my perspective, didn't move the elements, all of the elements that I'm wishing to move as part of this condition change.
Can I speak to the item?
Yes, you may.
Look, I'll be speaking against the proposed amendment only because I don't agree. Well, I take your point that you feel that it doesn't provide any greater clarity over the item, but you know, for me as a lay member, any possibility of additional protections for matters of heritage, especially in this really sensitive site around Aboriginal heritage, and I think we should retain everything unless there's a compelling reason to delete 29, and I mean a compelling reason. Just because there's some similarity with it, I don't agree it should be deleted and we simply change 15 or look to amend 15. I think I was comfortable with the recommendation as put, with the report as written, and I don't see a compelling reason to delete 29, particularly since the matter was only put to this panel 10 minutes ago and not supported in similar terms, but not supported. There was an opportunity at that point to make a different decision, and we did not. So, you know, I feel a bit uncomfortable that we're coming back having a second bite of the apple when it was a clear intent of the panel, in my view, not to support the deletion of 29 at that time. So I won't be supporting the proposed amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers who wish? John Syme.
Yeah, look, I will support the original deletion of condition 29 and leaving condition 15 untouched. Really didn't cover all of the necessary things. I think these amendments do. In particular, I think it gives a little bit more flexibility in timing because it now requires all of that to be prior to commencement of site or construction works, which I think, given the level of detail that happens between building approval and construction, there are minor changes which happen. I think this is an appropriate timing. I think regarding preservation and safety of heritage, I think that all of the important points from condition 29 are taken up in new condition 15. So I think I have no problem that all of those things are still fully covered.
Thank you. Any further speakers on this amendment? Thank you. I will just have a right of reply. As I indicated earlier, my rationale for the tying of these conditions together as this amendment is because, in my view, all of those matters are significant and should be resolved prior to construction, and separating them out may suggest that they will be dealt with separately, or could be dealt with at different times, which from my perspective, I think they should all be addressed prior to the construction of the development. That's my closing remarks. We are putting this to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Is carried. 3-2. Those are my only comments further on this motion. I will go back to panel members. Everyone has spoken, as I understand. We are moving back to Mayor Patrick Hall for right of reply on the substantive and close of debate.
Nothing to further add, Chair. Happy for it to go to the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to the vote. All those in favour? It is carried unanimously for the minute taker. I move back to the agenda, item 4. There are no DAP application form 2s. There are no section 31 SAT reconsiderations. We do have listed in our agenda, we do have listed other SAT appeals applications, but I have no comments to make on those. And accordingly, I close today's meeting at 1:56 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.